Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Kalen's Lens. As you can tell, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be me again, just another solo episode. And I actually haven't done one of these reflection ones in a really long time. So I thought, why not? This is the week, this is a perfect week. It's reading week for me. So why not just sit down and reflect on how uni has been going so far in second year and just have a really honest conversation about how this year's been. I don't want to give you the polished version that everyone sees over social media, the glitz and the glam and everything in between. I am going to talk to you today about the wins, the challenges, the mindset shifts, and some things that I have had to learn the hard way throughout the past few months. Second year, it has been interesting to say the least. In some ways, it's been one of the best years of my life, but in other ways, it's been really, really challenging. And I think that is actually what growing up really is all about. It's about navigating friendships, learning how to deal with both of the things that are going on in your life, whether that be personal, whether that be emotionally as well. And it's about figuring out what ways and techniques that you can use in order to help elevate all those parts of your life. And so today, I really wanted to talk about a few things that have stood out for me this year, whether that be my mindset and changing my mindset, getting a shitty grade in a subject that I expected to get a shitty grade in, that I actually wasn't happy about, but it's what I did after that that has actually helped me throughout the remainder of this year. My friendships, my dreaded love life, which between you and me has been a roller coaster of shits and giggles, so to speak. It has been awful. And what it's actually like juggling so many other things alongside a law degree. So, yeah, the first thing on the agenda that I really want to talk to you today about is grades. And I experienced a grade that absolutely changed my mindset. I want to start, and it happened probably about January time, towards the end of Jan, and I got a shitty grade. In my defense, so some people it me like, oh my god, that was incredible. But for me, it was awful. And I'm going to be completely honest about it. I was not happy. I was fuming with the examiner, with the marker, with myself, just with everyone. I was like, how on earth did I get such a bad grade? I have no idea. And it was one of those moments where I kind of had to look at the mark and I was just so frustrated. I was annoyed. And for about a day, I remember I was spiraling. I was like, this is my life is over. Everything is going downhill. This isn't how I wanted it to go. I need the grades. Like, what? Oh my God, this isn't what I wanted. I didn't expect it whatsoever. And it took a toll during that entire day because that's all I could think about. And I was flooding my mind with all these negative connotations of how I'm a bad person for getting a bad grade and all this and that until I woke up the next day and that completely changed. My entire outlook on perspective on that grade changed. And it just felt like it switched something within my brain. I don't know what it was, but I actually was happy that I got the grade that I got. I was like, this is a calling. This is a sign for me to book up my ideas and to improve. And so I did. I took a whole week to just process it and start making changes. I remember that same night I was rewatching all the lectures again, going back to the beginning, making notes on the lectures, what the lectures are saying, watching the recordings, and doing the whole module again. And though I'm not finished in between getting all the lectures done, I have seen throughout my tutorial attendance, as well as my participation in the tutorials, that I actually am starting to understand the module, that I'm actually starting to understand how the things fit together and where they go in a problem question, so to speak. And if I didn't do that, and I didn't look back at that grade as feedback, and I didn't say it as maybe you actually did fuck up. Maybe you did do something wrong, and it isn't actually a bad thing that you did. It's actually preparing you for the future. It's actually telling you what I can do next time. And the more that I began to analyze it, the more just everything started to make sense. And then it was things that I could fix. And suddenly, That subject that I was so frustrated with, hated attending the lectures, just didn't think it was enjoyable or the point in my life, actually has become one of the subjects that I'm so excited about. I'm really excited anytime I go to the tutorial, anytime I'm watching the lecture recording. I actually get a shit and a giggle out of that. And I think if I didn't have that shitty grade, none of that would have happened. And the bottom line is my grades did not define me. They no longer do like they did in the past. But the way that I approach my mindset, that is what defines me. Because I could have taken that path of exaggerating it for days upon days of how, oh my God, I'm so frustrated and I'm so angry and I'm such a bad person. I'm never going to get a good grade in this. And I could have taken that and that I wasn't capable. And instead, it's just changing my mindset, flipping it, telling myself that I am capable, that I can do it too, that I can achieve the things that I need to achieve. And I can set my mind to it. And if I set my mind to it, I'm going to achieve it. And that is exactly what happened. So if you're listening to this and this little tangent, so to speak, of getting a bad grade, just remember, yes, the result can be disappointing. And I genuinely believe it doesn't say anything about who you are and what your potential is. What it's actually showing you is where you can improve, how to improve, and what steps you can now take, whether that be reaching out to your tutor and scheduling feedback and advice hours, whether that be just being yourself and asking your friends for help. Now I'm so much more comfortable asking my closest friends, I don't get this, can you explain it to me? I don't actually understand this, can you tell me what's going on? Had I not done that, I would be stuck at so many points. I remember I didn't go to the lecture because I was at work for one lecture in that subject. And it was a topic, and I was doing the readings, and I was like, how am I meant to do a problem question? And it wasn't until I asked my friend, like, what am I meant to do? Like, is it a problem question? Like, what's going on? That I was able to figure it out. And I actually became really confident in the topic. So the bottom line is that grade didn't define me. That grade changed something within me. It made me passionate about the subjects, which is crazy to say because I don't know anyone passionate about equity and trusts. That is the topic. That's the subject for you guys. But it relit a fire. It re-hindered something within me. And so that's the bottom line. Just don't let your grade define you. Don't let that be the thing to pull you down. That's it. And another thing in my second year that has been an absolute roller coaster is my love life. I'm going to get so TMI about this because I just think it's something that people haven't really heard me talk about. I've been very much so off the dating scene for 6 months, went back into the dating scene after, to be fair, it wasn't even 6 months, it was like a whole year. Took a year off, let the everybody come back, and I came back and I left again and I've just departed again because I feel like I've given up. I genuinely feel like I've given up on dating. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether, yes, like my mindsets are so positive and everything else, and the one thing that they're not positive in is dating. I just don't know. I do not know why. But I think it's just historically I have had a shitty love life. I don't know what it is. I don't know what to say about it. And I think I've caught myself saying so many times, like, why can't I just find someone? Are my standards too high? Am I expecting too much? Do I want a carbon copy of someone or someone to be a carbon copy of me? What is it? Is it that I'm unlovable? Do I not fit in with today's society? And I've had these thoughts for such a long time that I have took a step back and I'm like, I'm not entertaining anything as such. I can't deal with that constant like thought. But then I've actually wondered and I've actually looked at it a lot more deeply. And I think the real reason isn't any of those reasons. It's actually me. Like, I'm the reason, so to speak, because I've built so many incredible habits. I kid you not. I have built up a healthy structure in the morning, at night, not drinking, not, going to the gym, eating properly, being productive, looking after my body, creating my own money, creating businesses in my mind, Not actually, but that's another story for another day. But having all these different things going on in my life, focusing on my degree and the podcast and making sure to prioritize friendships, that I've created all these things that I've never had before in my life. And that the one thing I've never ever had is dating, and that maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I'm not ready for that. Maybe I'm not ready to let go of all these things. No, I'm not saying I'd let go of all of them, but when you get into a relationship, you slightly get comfortable and things just slightly do disappear. Like I've seen it. I've seen it with my own friends and what happens with them in relationships. But it's like maybe I am not ready to give that up. I don't want to give up my 4:30 in the morning wake ups and 9 p.m. going to bed. I don't want to give up, going to the gym every single day, eating clean and not having fast foods. I don't want to give up the fact that I have a busy schedule and that I can't really arrange much time to meet up. I don't want to give up the fact that if I'm on FaceTime, I might be doing work. As much as I'm trying to concentrate on you, I've got work to do, and that is what my life looks like. Like, I'm very much so an active, productive person. I feel like I can't make adjustments for another person right now. And it might be hard to hear, but it's just that's where I feel like I'm at. I feel like I've created this life that I've dreamt of for so long, and now it's finally here. I don't know where to go from it. I do not know how to progress to the next stage of finding someone, finding a partner, finding someone to date, to marry. Like, I do always go in with it with the intention of dating to marry, but I never feel like enough for a person because of all these other things, that I can never give enough, that I'm not enough, or that they need more attention that I can give. And I think because of that, I really do find it hard to date. And that's just how it is. And I just think the bottom line is I'm not ready to compromise. I'm not ready to give everything away, give everything that I've dreamt of and worked for. Even though I really want like your typical teenage love story that, you picture meeting when you're 19 and you're young and everything works out and you stay together for 20, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, married till you die. Like, as much as I love that, and the years go on right now, I'm like, maybe my life isn't going to follow that timeline. Maybe my life isn't going to follow Sweet 16 or Sweet 18 sweethearts. But the realization is that's not a bad thing. Like, that just isn't a bad thing. I'm so career driven right now that my career is my priority, not a relationship. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't vape, I don't go out to party, I don't go clubbing, I take care of my body, I go to the gym, I focus on my goals, I work hard, I make my own money. Like, I am doing all these things and I have high standards in my life. And I think naturally as well, I'm not going to settle for someone who just doesn't align with any of these things. And so I just want you to think for a second. Like, having these high standards, what are your standards? Do you accept your standards? Or do you not? And you want to make a change for your standards? Do you think you've become, in your relationship, equal and you've forgotten who you are because you've made so many compromises along the way? Just think for that about a second, because it might hit something. You might realize that you're not who you're meant to be in that situation. You're not who you are. But also, on the flip side, if you're not in a relationship, do you want a relationship? But do you acknowledge the things that you have to do to break into that, to mold into that ability to have a relationship? They're two distinct thoughts that I really want you to have a listen and decompartmentalize within you. Think about it. Do you feel guilty because of those standards? Because I don't. I couldn't think of anything worse for having those high standards. I just know the type of environment that I'm building towards and that I would like my partner to build towards too. And that's okay. That's understandable. So just take a moment. What life do you want? Where do you want to go? And where do you see that environment fitting in? How do you see your current life fitting in with a relationship? deep it because it'll truly change something within you. You'll stop chasing and you'll start loving life. And one thing for me that I've really, really valued this year, and I mean valued, is my friendships. And I feel so incredibly grateful right now. I went through times during first year. I had no friends, zero, none, nada. I interacted with two people regularly, and they were my flatmates, and that is it. That is it that went on in my life during first year. I didn't go out once, to be honest, just wasn't my vibe, and that's that's really how boring first year was. And now this year, even though my circle is still very, very small, and when I say small, I actually mean it. Like, there's probably about five people in my life that I truly consider within my circle. And there's probably one person in that entire circle that knows me through and through right now. There are other people that have known me from other phases in my life, but there's one person right now that knows me through and through, and that I can tell anything with no judgment, and I can get some real good advice and learn from them because they're older, they're wiser, and they're like a big sister. And I never had that during first year, and it was rough. It was hard not having that shoulder to cry on, that person to go to for advice. But I'm so happy that I have these people. I have people that I can go to speak to cheer me up, to make me laugh. I feel eternally grateful. And I don't know why it happens, but I know why. Because everything in my life had to happen for a reason. To be honest, I feel like people in your first year, they're not going to be your friends forever. They're really not. I don't speak to remotely one person that I saw in first year often that I was in a tutorial with or that I had like some sort of interaction with. Excuse me whilst if you're watching this on YouTube whilst I rub my eye. This is the unfiltered version, as you can tell. But as I was saying, like, I just don't remember anyone from my first year that I still speak to regularly now. And it's okay because you can have acquaintances and you can have people in your life that you say are your friends, but they're truly not. Like, you can know a lot of people, but that doesn't mean everyone's in your inner circle. And I had to distinguish that. I thought growing up, I wanted so many friends, I wanted to feel alive. But the truth is, I never needed that. I needed one good friend, and I got through everything. And I had that. I found that. I found that in different phases. I found that in my second year of A levels, my final year of GCSEs, my second year at uni. I found those things. And it's the quality. It's all about quality. It's all about the quality of the people that are in your life and how much they mean to you. And I think these are lessons that I had learned through going through a loneliness paradox. And I'm not saying it's the best thing for absolutely everyone, but if you haven't seen that episode last season, I highly recommend you go check it out because it was truly transformational for not only me going through it, but I know for so many people to hear about it. And so going through that where you isolate yourself, you're in this isolation phase, this lonely phase of not talking to anyone, not interacting, just going about your day as normal and coming out of it and growing in so many other ways hits the nerve, it hits the core within you. If I hadn't have done that, I don't know where I would have been in life. I don't know how I would be valuing friendships. I wouldn't have a balance whatsoever. I really wouldn't because I talk about balance in terms of conversations. I was always the type that would have to message my friends all the time. Now it just happens when it happens. And I will message them when I get round to messaging them. They will message me when they get round to messaging me. And that's healthy. I never ever have to demand a friend to message me back because I let them. And that's the power. Let them. Let them in friendships. Let them not respond. Let you just live your life. Let you respond when you want to respond. Let them respond. Let you respond when you can respond. That's the essence. And so just think, do you think you have a friend right now that you're putting way too much effort into and you're not receiving it back? Do you have a friend that you constantly check up on and they never respond back to you? Do you have a friend that you tell them how your life is because they've asked and then they just never respond back to you? If that's what's happening, maybe it's time for you to reconsider what is happening. Have your priorities changed? Or are you just drifting naturally? Or is that just something that's happening? Is life just moving on? So, from all of that, just think about it for a second. Deep it. I do a weekly sort of like debrief on my week, who I interacted with, how they went about it, how I went about it, how the interaction was. And I really don't analyze it. I just think, how did I feel out of it? Did I feel valued? Did I feel okay? Or did I feel a bit shitty? Did they make me feel shitty? Did I make them feel shitty in some way? And I ask myself those questions every Sunday. And that gives me the ability to move forward, but also reflect. Reflect on being the type of friend that I want to be. Even though I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and not everyone's going to be that my cup of tea either. But it's about the realization that you don't need to be the constant attached and having that pressure. Because friendships will feel stronger without it. And that is the true lesson from this segment is the value of let them. Let them be how they want to be and let you be how you want to be. Because you can truly change the trajectory of not only your friendship, but also the time that you spend with your friends. Because that is the most valuable. I'm moving from friendships. I really just want to get unfiltered, unscripted about law. And I haven't done this in a real long time. I think it was all the way back in December, to be honest. It would have been all the way back in December. And this semester, kid you not, has been one of the most stressful semesters of my career. It genuinely has. I've had assignments, I've had projects, I've been managing the podcast, applications for first year schemes, having a part time job, mentoring A level students, doing the degree itself, maintaining family, friendships, everything, trying to get a relationship, didn't work out, just everything going off in my life, making sure I stay healthy, go to the gym. You get the gist, there's a lot going on. I'm busy pretty much every single day of the week, 7 days a week. That is what my life looks like. If you see my Google Calendar, you kind of know where I'm going. And people are like, well, because that's how your life is you're not burnt out? Are you not always tired? I'm like, why are we having this conversation? Because the interesting thing that I've learned recently is that you don't get burnt out by doing things that you're not passionate about. If I wasn't passionate about the things I do, I'd be burnt out. But the truth is I am not burnt out because I'm doing things that I enjoy doing. That's as simple and cutthroat as it is. Do I sometimes get overwhelmed with the amount of tasks that I need to do on a day? Absolutely. Do I get stressed by that? Yes. But I don't get burnt out. I still push through. I still get on with it because that's the difference. A burnout is where it's over, you don't have the passion or the motivation to do anything anymore. Just being overwhelmed is having that ability that you still want to do it. You just have so much to do that it's trying to figure out how to do it. And that's the real hard part, especially this semester, is having so much to do and planning in the time to do it, but also making those sacrifices, making the time to focus on certain things. And it's not always easy. Like, there are many days I go in the week where I don't speak to my parents regularly on FaceTime. I don't see my friends every single day in the week. And I choose these not because I'm prioritizing other responsibilities and other things, but because they respect it, but also because I have to do it because I've chosen to do it. I made that choice and I will stand by that choice. And that is how I get so much done in my day. And I focus solely in on the task. Because there's a big difference between being busy with things that you care about and just being busy with things that you don't. And when you lose that passion for something, that is when burnout happens. And the key is just respect your decisions, respect being passionate, and respect the grind and hustle that you have. And that's also why I hate the term work life balance. If you know me, you know I hate talking about a work life balance. I don't have one. And I think anyone that says that they have one is lying to you, is genuinely lying to you because work life balance doesn't exist. It doesn't. Like, you want to sit here and you want to tell me that, oh my God, I have a work life balance. A, you're young, why are you chasing a work life balance? But B, it's not real. Like, there's two ends to this. It's a work life alignment. And that's something I believe in a lot more. I believe in having a work life alignment because nothing in my life is ever balanced. Some days my degree is taking priority, other days my job takes priority, other days and other hours of the week it might be my podcast, it might be my applications, it might be my mentor, it might be speaking to parents. None of it is balanced. I'm not doing the equal amount on every single thing because that would be impossible to do. It genuinely would. Everything's aligned. I'm still doing all the things, but they're all going at different paces. They're all going at different hours and times that I allocate towards the things. And that's okay. That is okay because everything shifts depending on what needs attention at that moment. I wouldn't have been able to have done all these things if I had a balance. It just wouldn't have happened. If I have an alignment and everything's going towards that goal, that is the priority. That is where I'm at. And that is the true essence. So just think, if you changed your mindset from a work-life balance to a work-life alignment, just imagine how much things you'd be able to get done in a day. Just imagine if you planned and you prepped and you changed the way that you did things. You wouldn't be thinking about a balance. You'd be thinking about an alignment that suits you and works for you. But another thing that I've also realised, and that everyone keeps telling me, is that they're so scared for how second year is going to go. I think it's going to be so much worse than first year. And I can't lie to you, first year for me was worse than second year. Not academically, like, yes, the subjects are slightly harder during this year, but more mentally. Because first year, you're going to a brand new city, you don't know anyone. So a lot of the time, you're alone, like I was during my first year. You're trying to make friends and it's not really working. You don't have any habits. It's really hard to adjust. It genuinely is. And when you're trying to figure all these things out of what your routine looks like, how to structure your life, how do I even do uni because you don't get taught it, you're just like so bamboozled. I genuinely was. I was so bamboozled during my first year that I was just like, this is so difficult. And now when I'm in my second year, I'm like, Kalen, why were you moaning during your first year? You're so much busier now, but everything's still organized. Thing's still planned. All the tasks are completed. Everything is getting done on time, on deadline, on schedule. And you know why? Because you've took the steps, you took the time to learn about what went wrong in your first year, what's gone right, and you've actually grown. My calendar runs my life, whether that be when I'm attending a tutorial, when I'm doing prep work, assignments, going to a different meeting, going on the tube, planning in my time in the week to go to a food shop, meal prep. Every task that I have to do is planned into my calendar to make sure I stay on top of things and never miss a beat. I haven't missed a single tutorial this year because of it. I always make sure everything is done before the start of the week. And it's about taking actionable steps that allows second year to feel so much easier than first year. I can sit there and I can comfortably say, I am finding second year a lot more easier because of that. And so just think, if you took the time and the effort to just plan, just talk to yourself or get a calendar and plan it out. Plan how you want your week to look. Plan how your days look. Plan what tasks you need to do on a specific day. Because let's face it, when you're a uni student, you typically have a lot of the same tasks. You need to do your tutorial prep. You need to do the lecture prep if there is any. You need to watch a module or do some readings. You have all these tasks which you have to do every week. So why can't you spend about 15 to 20 minutes on your Sunday planning these tasks in so you don't fall behind, so you can see the white space and when you can do other things in your life, whether that be catching up with friends, whether that be going to the food shop, whether that be meal prepping. Because taking the actionable steps to not only plan, but also making sure to stay organized, your life transforms. So just think, just deep it. What if you just took this time to embrace the plan, take on the challenge, and defeat it all? I know for me, my second year has gone so much more smoothly than I expected, with so many more opportunities that I've been able to take part in that I couldn't even have imagined. And the truth is I'm not burnt. I'm not dying. I'm not dreading going to uni anymore. I'm over that. I'm in a phase where I'm no longer falling behind. I'm actually progressing ahead. How would you feel if you could be in that position where you can comfortably say your tutorials are all up to date, your life is all there, everything has happened for a reason, and this is all during second year? How would you feel if you were there in that position? So just plan. Take that stroke off of you and plan it. Plan what lunches you're going to have for the week. Plan what meals you're going to cook. Plan everything. Plan what outfit you're going to get out the night before. Because each plan reduces a decision that you have to make in the day and catapults everything else. So, yeah, I thought that would be sort of it. They're really like the 4 to 5 main things that have kind of gone on this year, especially in 2026. I feel like the things I've definitely focused on in this episode have happened pretty much this year. And that's a bit of a life update for you. The highs, the challenges, the mindset shifts, and some of the things that I've had to learn along the way. And I am truly, truly grateful for where things are in my life. I continuously learn every single day about myself, about what matters to me, about the kind of life I am building towards. I am so grateful for the lessons in all different areas of this episode. So blessed, so grateful. I am so grateful for having such incredible guests on Kalen Lens, featuring Amelia, Ruben, Yasmin, Eva, Abby, so far, with so many more incredible people set to come. Kalen's Lens will be taking a little bit of a break though for 1 week. I won't be recording an episode and there won't be an episode for next week, but you're going to have to stay tuned for the week after when there is an unmissable episode and it's a two-parter. So stay tuned for that. I am so incredibly thankful for the people that are still here listening to Kalen's Lens. You have no idea how much it means to me, hearing the feedback, learning how to improve. So just make sure to learn that your trajectory is not linear. Your growth, your career isn't linear. You're not going to experience the same things that I've experienced. And that's okay, because we're all different. Our journeys are different, our paths are different. But ultimately understand who you are to the core and understanding every single part about you will change your life for the better. So that's it. That's me. That's how second year, the reality of second year for me, and everything in between. Thank you for listening, and I will see you all in a couple of weeks.